Stop closing or switching to different videos for 60 seconds. I want to ask you something and I need you to answer honestly, even if it's just in your head.
Ooh, I like when you start like this. Go on.
Have you ever watched a video, felt fire in your chest, told yourself this is the day everything changes, and then 3 days later you're back exactly where you started?
Oh no, don't do this to me this early in the episode.
I'm doing it because today we're not giving you another 5 tips to stay motivated video. Today, we're going to show you why motivation was never designed to save you in the first place and what actually does.
Wait, what do you mean motivation isn't supposed to save us? Isn't that the whole point of it?
That's exactly the trap. And by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly why you keep failing and, more importantly, the one thing that changes it for good. But you have to stay till the end because the answer isn't where you think it is.
Okay, now I actually need to know. Let's get into it.
Part 1. The 5 a.m. Lie. Let me tell you about a guy named Zayan. Real story, close friend of mine. One night, he watches a video called 21 Days to Change Your Life. By the end of it, he's fully charged. Notebook out, alarm set for 5 a.m., plan for exercise, journaling, meditation, the whole transformation.
I already know where this is going.
Next morning, wakes up at 9, doesn't even remember snoozing the alarm. And here's the part that should scare you.
What?
This wasn't the first time. It had happened to him over and over with different goals, different videos, different "this time will be different" moments.
Okay, with James, that's literally every person who's ever made a New Year's resolution. Why does this keep happening to smart, capable people?
Because we've been sold a lie about where motivation even comes from. We think it's a feeling that shows up if we want something badly enough. But that feeling was never built to last past day 3. And if you don't understand why, you will keep repeating Zayan's exact mistake for the rest of your life.
Okay, that actually terrifies me a little. So if motivation isn't a feeling we wait for, what is it?
Part 2. The outdated operating system in your head. Mary, quick question. If you bought the newest, most expensive phone on the market, but it was running software from 10 years ago, would it work properly?
No, obviously not. It would lag, crash, probably die by noon.
That is exactly what's happening inside your brain right now. You have modern goals, but you're running an ancient motivation operating system.
Okay, now you have my attention. How ancient are we talking?
Thousands of years ancient, back when your ancestors had exactly one job: survive, find food, avoid the predator, don't die today. That's it. That was the entire operating system. We'll call it Motivation 1.0.
So, basic hunger and fear, that was the original fuel.
Exactly. And here's the twist most people never think about. It worked perfectly. No one needed a morning routine to run from a tiger. The fear did all the work for you.
Right, nobody's hitting snooze when there's a lion outside the cave.
Exactly. But then something changed. Society got organized, cities formed, factories were built, and suddenly survival wasn't the daily threat anymore. So the old operating system had nothing left to run on.
So what replaced it?
Motivation 2.0. The carrot and the stick. Reward and punishment. Do the job, get paid. Miss the deadline, get in trouble. And Mary, here's where it gets a little dark.
Uh-oh, I know that tone. What is it?
There was a man named Frederick Taylor over 100 years ago who literally treated factory workers like replaceable machine parts. Perform well, get a reward. Underperform, you're humiliated, your pay is cut, or you're simply removed. Sound familiar?
Way too familiar, honestly. That sounds like half the workplaces today.
That's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. We think we've evolved. We haven't. Most people today, whether they realize it or not, are still running Motivation 2.0, chasing the next bonus, the next like, the next bit of approval, waiting for someone or something outside of them to hand them a reason to keep going.
Okay, but that system built entire cities, factories, economies. Are you telling me it just doesn't work?
It works for a while. That's the trap. It gets you moving short term, but here's the surprise nobody warns you about. The more you rely on external rewards, the less satisfying they become over time. You need a bigger bonus, a bigger like, a bigger win, just to feel the same spark you felt the first time.
Wait, so it's not just that it fades, it actually needs to keep escalating just to keep working.
Exactly. It's almost identical to how tolerance works with anything addictive. And that is precisely why so many people who have it all, the money, the title, the recognition, still feel completely empty inside.
Okay, that's genuinely unsettling. So if the reward and punishment model eventually collapses on itself, what on earth replaces it? Because that system runs almost everything we do, our jobs, our schools, even how we raise kids.
That, Mary, is exactly where this gets interesting, because there's a third version, one most people have never even heard of, and once you understand it, you'll never look at your own laziness the same way again.
James, you cannot leave me hanging like that. What is it?
Patience. That's part 3. And trust me, it's worth the wait.
Fine, but everyone listening better not skip ahead. This next part changes everything.
Part 3. The 2 types of people and only one wins long term. All right, Mary, you've been waiting. Let's get into it. There are 2 types of motivated people walking around on this planet. Type X and Type I.
Okay, that sounds like something out of a spy movie. Which one am I?
Stick with me. Type X is driven entirely from the outside. Money, fame, likes, recognition, applause. It feels incredible in the moment, but it burns out fast.
Right, that's basically what we just spent all of part 2 talking about.
Exactly. That's the old operating system wearing a new outfit. But here's the twist, and this one genuinely disturbs people when they hear it for the first time.
Go on, I'm ready.
Some of the most successful people on Earth, by every external measure, money, status, the corner office, still feel hollow, empty, like something's missing even after they got everything they chased.
Wait, so getting everything you wanted doesn't actually fix the emptiness?
It doesn't, because Type X was never built to fill that hole. It was only ever built to chase the next hit. And once the hit fades, you need a bigger one, forever.
That's actually kind of terrifying when you say it like that.
It should be. Now here's the other side, Type I. This one's different, completely different. It's driven from inside you. Nobody has to push you, because the goal itself is pulling you forward.
Okay, give me an example, because that sounds nice in theory, but I need proof.
Think about Steve Jobs. If money was truly his only driver, does Apple exist the way it does? Does anyone spend years obsessing over the exact curve of a piece of plastic, the exact click of a button just for a paycheck?
No, nobody obsesses like that over a bonus.
Exactly. Or think about Elon Musk. If he only wanted money, why is he trying to put human beings on Mars? There's no bonus structure for that, no annual review, no boss handing out a reward.
Okay, that's genuinely a fair point. So how does someone actually build that kind of drive? Because most of us don't wake up with colonize Mars sitting in our chest.
You don't need a mission that big. You need 3 pillars. And Mary, here's the part that changes everything. If even one pillar is missing, the entire structure collapses. Doesn't matter how strong the other 2 are.
Okay, now I'm nervous. What's the first one?
Autonomy. The feeling that you actually have control, choice, freedom over what you do and how you do it. Not being forced, not being micromanaged, choosing it.
That actually makes sense. I've noticed I hate doing something the second someone forces me to do it, even if I wanted to do it before.
Right? Even as kids, we resist being told what to do, even when it's good for us. Force kills desire almost instantly. The second pillar is mastery.
Mastery? Like getting good at something?
More than good, it's the drive to keep improving at something purely for the sake of getting better, not just to finish it and move on. And this one has a wild story attached to it.
Oh, I need the story.
There was a Formula One driver, Niki Lauda. 1976, he's in a horrific crash, burned badly. Doctors tell him flatly, you will never race again. You might not even live a normal life.
Oh my God.
6 weeks later, he's back in the car, racing, in pain, disfigured, and still pushing forward. And here's the part that connects to everything we're talking about. Winning was never actually his goal.
Wait, what? He's a racer. Isn't winning the entire point?
That's what everyone assumes. But what drove him was mastering his craft, getting sharper, refining every detail, every single race, win or lose. And because his drive wasn't tied to the outcome, no crash, no injury, no doctor's warning could take it away from him.
Okay, that gives me chills a little. So mastery is almost unbreakable because it doesn't depend on winning or losing.
Exactly. And that leaves us with the third pillar, the one almost everyone skips completely, and it's the most important one of all.
James, don't do the postling right now.
Purpose.
Of course it's purpose.
A reason bigger than yourself. And here's the part that separates people who quit after a week from people who keep going for decades. Without purpose, autonomy and mastery have nowhere to point. You can have total freedom and incredible skill and still feel completely lost.
So how does a normal person, not a Formula One champion, not Elon Musk, actually find that kind of purpose?
That's exactly what we're getting into next, because knowing the three pillars means nothing if you don't know how to actually use them, starting today, not someday.
All right, I need the real steps now, something I can literally use the second this episode ends.
Then let's not waste another second. Part 4 is where the theory turns into action.
Finally, let's go.
Part 4. The toolkit nobody gives you. All right, Mary? Theory's done. Now we build. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Knowing about autonomy, mastery, and purpose is completely useless if you don't know how to actually install them into your daily life.
Okay, so where do we even start? Because find your purpose sounds like something you'd see on a poster in a dentist's waiting room.
Fair. So let's make it real. Step 1, and this is non-negotiable. Define your biggest goal in exactly one sentence.
One sentence? That feels almost too simple for something this important.
That's exactly the point. Most people have 5 different goals fighting for attention in their head at the same time. Lose weight, save money, learn a skill, fix a relationship, all competing. And a scattered mind cannot access real sustainable motivation. Ever.
Okay, but how do you even choose just one? What if someone genuinely has multiple things they care about?
You ask yourself a harder question underneath it. Not what do I want to do, but who do I want to become? For example, there's a whole philosophy behind certain content channels. Some exist purely to instill a love of reading in people. That's it. One sentence. Every single decision they make gets filtered through that one line.
So the sentence isn't really a to-do list item. It's more like a filter for every decision after it.
Exactly. Write it down tonight, not tomorrow, tonight before you sleep. My biggest goal in life is blank, fill in the blank, even if it feels rough or incomplete. You can refine it later, but you need a first draft to build on.
Okay, I actually like that. What's step 2?
Step 2 is finding your peak hours. And Mary, this one genuinely surprises people when they try it.
Peak hours? Like when I'm most awake?
More specific than that, when your brain is actually sharp, not just awake. Here's the hack. Set random alarms throughout your day, maybe 5 or 6 of them, no pattern. Every time one goes off, rate your energy and focus, 1 to 10, right there in the moment.
Wait, so you're basically spying on your own brain throughout the day?
Exactly that. Do it for about a week and you'll start to see a pattern emerge. Maybe you're sharp at 10 in the morning and completely useless by 3 in the afternoon. Maybe you're the opposite and you actually think clearest at night.
And once you know that pattern, what do you actually do with it?
You protect it like it's sacred. You put your hardest, most important task, the one that requires actual thinking, inside that window. Not your email, not scrolling, the real work. Because here's the surprise. Most people schedule their hardest tasks during their worst hours purely out of habit. Then wonder why everything feels like pulling teeth.
Oh my God, that's literally me. I try to do deep work right after lunch when I'm basically half asleep.
You and about 90% of people listening right now. Fix that one thing and tasks that used to feel impossible suddenly feel manageable.
Okay, that's genuinely useful. What's step 3?
Step 3 connects straight back to that first pillar we talked about, autonomy. And there's a real experiment that proves exactly how powerful this is. Have you heard of Georgetown University Hospital?
No, but I have a feeling I'm about to.
Years ago, the nurses there were operating under extremely strict, rigid rules, every process controlled from the top down, and the hospital was struggling, low performance, low morale. So almost as an experiment, they did something radical. They gave the nurses autonomy.
What does that even look like in a hospital?
They let the nurses run their own small research projects, adjust certain policies, bring their own ideas into how things were done. Nobody forced a rigid script on them anymore. And the results were almost immediate.
Let me guess. Performance went up?
Dramatically. Engagement went up, morale went up. The hospital's overall performance improved significantly. Same nurses, same hospital, same patients. The only thing that changed was how much control they felt over their own work.
Okay, but that's a hospital, though. Most of us aren't running a ward. How does an average person actually apply that?
3 ways, and this is the part I want you to actually write down. First, autonomy over tasks. If you have 3 things to do today, you choose the order. You decide what gets tackled first. Even that small amount of choice changes how your brain experiences the work.
Okay, that seems almost too simple to matter.
It matters more than you think. Here's proof. Google, for years, gave employees 20% of their work time to spend on any project they personally wanted to pursue. No boss assigning it. Complete freedom.
Wait, isn't that how Gmail happened?
Exactly. Gmail, Google News, some of their biggest products came out of that 20% freedom, not because employees were forced to innovate, but because they were finally allowed to choose.
Okay, that's actually wild. A random side project became one of the most used products on the planet.
So here's your homework version of that. Give yourself even 20% of your day, that's roughly an hour and a half, to work on whatever genuinely excites you. No obligation attached. That's autonomy over tasks in action.
All right, what's the second way?
Autonomy over time. And this one's going to sting a little because I know exactly what you did earlier. Back in part 1, remember Zayan and his 5 a.m. alarm?
Oh no, don't bring that back up.
I have to, because his mistake was locking himself into a rigid time. 5 a.m., no flexibility, no room to breathe. The second he missed it, his whole brain treated the entire day as a failure.
Right, all or nothing thinking.
Exactly. Instead, build flexibility directly into your plan. If you can't wake up at 5, 6 works. If you can't do the full hour-long routine, break it into smaller chunks throughout the day. The goal isn't rigid perfection, it's flexible consistency.
Okay, and the third way to build autonomy?
Autonomy over technique. Even when a task is assigned to you and you can't change what needs to get done, you can usually still change how you do it. If you're editing a video, you don't have to follow the exact same style you were taught. Experiment. Make it yours.
So even inside a task you didn't choose, you can still claim some ownership over it?
Exactly. Task, time, technique. Master those 3, and autonomy stops being something you wait for and becomes something you build yourself in any situation, any job, any goal.
Okay, that's step 3 fully covered. What's step 4?
Step 4 ties into mastery. Remember Niki Lauda from part 3? Every single night, ask yourself one specific question. Am I even slightly better today than I was yesterday?
Not compared to anyone else, just yesterday's version of me.
Exactly. You're catching on. Comparison to other people destroys motivation almost instantly because there's always someone further ahead. But comparing yourself only to yesterday, that's a competition you can actually win every single day, forever.
Okay, and how do you actually track that? Because slightly better feels kind of vague.
Simple hack. Every night, write down 3 things. What did I do today? How did I feel doing it? What will I do tomorrow? Takes less than 2 minutes, but after a month, you look back and see actual proof of growth in your own handwriting.
That's oddly satisfying, actually having a written trail of your own progress.
It's more than satisfying, it's fuel. Because remember, we're inside our own journey every single day, so we rarely notice small improvements happening in real time. That journal becomes the mirror that shows you what you can't feel directly.
All right, 1 step left. What's step 5?
Step 5, and honestly this is my personal favorite, build yourself a personal motivational reminder. Something physical, visible, unavoidable.
Like a vision board?
Could be. Could be a single quote taped to your mirror, A photo, a song you play before starting work. Different things spark different people, and there's no universally correct version. The only requirement is that it actually moves something in you emotionally.
Okay, but does that really work, or is it just a nice idea people repeat without proof?
There's actual proof behind this, even at a corporate level. Take Patagonia, the outdoor clothing company. They gave employees paid time off specifically to volunteer for environmental causes they personally cared about.
Wait, that seems irrelevant to a motivational poster.
It's connected. Stay with me. That single policy created a deep, lasting sense of purpose among employees. They felt like the company's mission wasn't just marketing, it was real, lived, and shared. And that feeling made them work further, not because anyone forced them, but because they wanted to.
So the reminder doesn't have to be a poster. It can be a felt experience, too.
Exactly. Anything that reconnects you to your why the moment motivation starts slipping. That's the entire point of step 5.
Okay, James, I have to say this actually feels usable. Goal sentence, peak hours, small autonomous steps, nightly check-ins, personal reminder. 5 real steps, not just vague inspiration.
And that's exactly why I wanted to lay all 5 out clearly before we go further, because what we're about to talk about next completely changes how you'll use every single one of these tools.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Because here's the uncomfortable truth we've been building toward this entire episode. Even with every one of these 5 steps, even with autonomy, mastery, and purpose fully in place, motivation will still disappear on you, completely without warning.
Wait, what? After everything we just built, you're telling me it can still just vanish?
Every time, guaranteed. And what you do in that exact moment is the difference between people who succeed for decades and people who quit forever.
Okay, now I need to know exactly what happens on those days and what we're actually supposed to do about it.
Then let's not wait any longer. Part 5 is where everything we've built today either holds or falls apart.
I'm not moving until you tell me. Let's go.
All right, let's go with part 5 now, the uncomfortable truth about bad days. Mary, take a deep breath, because this is the part of the episode where everything we've built so far either holds together or falls apart completely.
Okay, that's an intense way to start a section. I'm ready. Hit me.
Now, I want to go back to that question I asked you right at the very beginning of this episode. Have you ever felt fully charged, completely on fire, and then a few days later felt absolutely nothing?
Of course. I think everyone listening right now just nodded.
Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. That's not a personal failure. That's not you being weak, lazy, or undisciplined at your core. That is guaranteed to happen to every single person alive.
Wait, guaranteed? Even to the people we've been talking about all episode? Niki Lauda, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs?
Especially them. Elite athletes wake up some mornings and don't want to train. Founders running billion-dollar companies wake up some days completely emotionally flat. It happens to everyone, without exception.
Okay, honestly, that's actually a relief to hear. I think most of us assume everyone else has this permanently figured out and we're the only ones struggling.
That belief right there, that everyone else has it together except you, is one of the most damaging lies floating around. Nobody has it together every single day. Nobody.
So then what actually separates the people who keep going for decades from the people who quit after a few weeks? Because clearly it's not that the successful ones never have bad days.
It's what they do inside that bad day. That's the entire difference. Let me walk you through it, because there are 3 specific things that separate a temporary dip from a permanent collapse.
Okay, first one, go.
First, you accept the bad day instead of fighting it. Most people wake up feeling low and immediately start attacking themselves. I should be motivated right now. What's wrong with me? Why am I such a failure? And that internal attack makes the low feeling 10 times worse.
Oh, I do that constantly. I beat myself up for not feeling motivated, which somehow makes me feel even less motivated.
Exactly. It's a downward spiral you're creating yourself. Instead, the shift is simple but powerful. You just say, today is a hard day. That's allowed. It will pass. No drama, no self-punishment, just acceptance.
Okay, it will pass. That's such a small sentence to carry that much weight.
And here's something worth remembering on those days. You have survived 100% of your bad days up until this point. Every single one. You're still here.
Okay, that actually hit differently than I expected.
It should. Now, second thing, and this is the part most people get completely backwards. On a bad day, you don't try to be a hero. You do the absolute minimum.
Wait, isn't that just giving up, though? Doesn't doing the minimum sound like an excuse to be lazy?
That's exactly what it sounds like, but it's the opposite. If you normally exercise for 30 minutes, on a bad day, you do 5. If you normally study for an hour, you do 10 minutes. The task shrinks, but it never disappears completely.
So the goal isn't intensity, it's just keeping the thread alive.
Exactly. Keep the habit alive even in its smallest, weakest form. Because here's what happens if you stop completely for even one day. Starting again becomes exponentially harder than continuing small ever would have been.
Right, because once the streak breaks completely, some part of your brain treats the whole thing as over, and starting from 0 feels way heavier than just continuing tiny.
You just explained it better than most psychology textbooks. Keep the habit alive, and tomorrow you rebuild back up to full strength. Break it completely, and you're rebuilding an entire identity from scratch.
Okay, that's the second one. What's the third one?
Third, and this one is simple, but people almost never actually do it, you speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you love on their worst day.
What do you mean exactly?
If your closest friend called you in tears having the worst day of their month, would you say, "Wow, you're so lazy. What's wrong with you? You're failing at everything"?
Of course not. I'd never talk to anyone like that.
But that's exactly the tone most people use on themselves every single day without even noticing. Instead, imagine saying, "Hey, it's okay. You're doing your best. Tomorrow's a new day." Speak that to yourself, out loud if you have to.
Okay, tomorrow is a new day. I actually love that. It's such a small phrase, but it removes all the pressure instantly.
Because it's true. Every single morning really is a completely fresh start. No debt carried over. No permanent failure attached to yesterday.
Okay, so James, we've got acceptance, minimum effort to keep the habit alive, and self-compassion. But something in your voice this whole episode has been building towards one final point. What is it?
Long pause. Here it is, Mary. The one thing we promised you at the very beginning of this episode. Motivation, even the deep, purpose-driven autonomy and mastery kind we spent this entire episode building, is still just a feeling. And feelings, by definition, come and go.
Okay, but if motivation always fades eventually, no matter how well we build it, what's actually supposed to carry us through?
Discipline.
That's it? That's the big reveal?
That's it. And it's bigger than it sounds. Think of it like this. Motivation is the key that starts your car's engine. It gets you moving. It feels exciting in that first moment. But the key doesn't drive the car 300 miles down the road. Discipline does that.
So motivation gets you off the couch, but discipline is what actually gets you to the finish line.
Exactly. And here's the twist that changes how you should think about your entire life from this point forward. You do not need to feel motivated to take action. You need a system disciplined enough that action happens regardless of how you feel that day.
Wow. Okay, that completely reframes every single thing we talked about today. The 5 steps, the 3 pillars, none of it depends on you feeling excited every morning.
None of it. That's the whole point. Purpose gives you a direction worth walking toward. Discipline makes sure you keep walking, even on the days your legs feel like they're made of lead.
So when you combine real purpose with daily discipline,
You become almost unstoppable, not because you feel amazing every single day, but because feeling amazing stopped being a requirement for showing up.
okay, that's genuinely a lot to sit with. I think I need to rewatch this episode myself.
So here's your homework before you close this video. Pick just one thing today, autonomy, mastery, purpose, the small step method, or even just the do the minimum rule, and apply it in the next 24 hours, not next week, today.
And tell us in the comments which one you're choosing, because we genuinely read every single one of them.
And Mary, here's something we only scratched the surface of today. How do you actually build discipline when your motivation is sitting at absolute 0? Because knowing you need it and knowing how to build it are two very different things.
That sounds like it might be the most important conversation we've ever had on this channel.
It might be. So if you don't want to miss it, you already know exactly what to do.
Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Stay disciplined.
Even when it's hard. See you next time.
Bye-bye.